Okay, that's enough of my my talking head friend. So I have not shot in a properly lit room in F-Log in a while. Heads will roll. I have been doing a lot of run and gun vlogging with the XM5 in as auto a mode as possible, and just as a way to get stuff out of the camera quick and show how easy it can be to get out high quality footage. But I said to myself, got to do the other end of the scale as well. So I came into the studio and I probably spent most of the morning setting up the lighting and shooting now in F-Log 2 to see how the XM5 handles that. So I thought to myself, what's the point in just shooting nothing? Let's shoot a tutorial on the lighting, what I did and all the pitfalls that I had doing it. Hopefully it'll help someone somewhere. So we've got the XM5 with the XE15 to 45 lens on it. I've got my XT5 to show you what's going on in the background with the 18 to 55 lens on it. I'm gonna check because, yeah, okay, cool. I checked that the monitor's false color was on so you can see it, because I'm recording this video for now the third time after I left that off the first time and did something stupid the second time. Anyway, here's the thing, right? And I think the point of this video is, do you need to do all of this to do a tutorial or to get a message across quickly? I don't think so. I think what has happened in the YouTube social media sphere is that we came to a point where things were like really, it was amazing to see super high quality video and stuff like that, and now that's just become the norm. Everyone can do it at home. So my thing is, what is important about what I do is not the aesthetic in the videos, unless it's like a documentary for a client or a documentary for myself, or photos obviously. But in making these, it's decent enough quality, but in as little time as possible. And let me just tell you, for that purpose, shooting straight out of this camera with film sims has been marvelous. This has sucked, but it was a good exercise just to remind me that I can actually do it and I can actually grade log footage. And I thought to myself, I'll just share that process with you, share some of the pitfalls that happened, and maybe it's something that you can use. That clap is so that I can just find the waveforms and line them up. Makes my life easy for the next chapter. I'm gonna do it again because I don't know if the first one was loud enough. From a lighting point of view, we've got the key light there. I've got a fill light from this Gorak stick light thing that I use underwater. And let me tell you how I went about doing this. What I did was started with the key light. No, I'm lying. So, no, I am telling the truth, but I took the strip box off here. I put a small octabox on, and I have that as my key light. It's a 100 watt Godox light. And then I didn't go to the fill immediately. I actually went to that because I knew I wanted this background spotlight with where you could actually see it and stuff. So I put that in as a rim light, and the problem with it was it was too bright. But we'll get back to how I fixed those little niggles now. Then I knew I wanted practicals in the shot, so I had the lampshade there, I had that little sparkly light thing there. And then I found that the background there was way too dark, so I added in this little panel light there. Now, that's a lot of lights, I know. You didn't have to do it this way, but I wanted to in this case. A couple things to note. From a depth of field and shooting settings point of view, 30 frames per second, I stick to it. I just like using multiples of 30. I'm happy with that for what I'm doing here. Don't need to make it all cinematic in 24 frames per second. That's not what makes things cinematic. So 30 frames per second gave me a shutter speed of 1/60, and I was stuck with too much of light. So I was like, what am I gonna do? And I forgot about the golden rule. ND filters are friends, not food. And eventually, I went and fetched it and realized, wow, I have an ND filter. What a magical thing. Honestly, one of the most important pieces of kit in video. What else? I try to keep the ISO as low as possible, 1250 on F-Log 2. That camera, the XT-5, is shooting just straight out of camera, baked in at 500 ISO, right? So the primary we're talking about here is the XM5. What else? Audio, shotgun mic on the XM5. I'm so far away, the signal to noise ratio is going to be horrible. I've got little DJI mic under here, and I'm recording that into the XM5, and I'll use the claps to line up audio later to make life easy. And then from a setup point of view, set everything to 5300 where I could, Kelvin, color temperature, and in camera. Though that I could not control and that I could not control. So they were a bit warm, but I wanted that, right? It goes with the beige walls, and then I chucked in the green and yellow background. And then when I was changing my clothes, I put on something that would go with this. So this cargo-y, greeny color shorts with coffee stains on it, and my beige t-shirt kind of fits into this and makes it cohesive, which is what I like. I like cohesive, monochromatic, but analogous color scheme, so everything looks like one. Pitfalls. Pitfalls, right. This is what took time. The theory is great, knowing I need a key and a kicker and a fill and all that stuff, right? Wonderful. Then you get in the room and realize you've got restrictions. You've got walls that bounce light because they're white for photography. You've got not a lot of distance because that's just how this room is. All these things, right? So, depth of field is not much I could do. I don't want a super blurry background anyway. It doesn't matter. But whether I would have been able to achieve that with the gear I have, I don't think so. Because I intentionally wanted to use the setup that I have here. And I wanted this distance away. I wanted the context. I wanted you to be able to see at least up to my seating position. Those are restrictions that I just had to live with, and it was fine for the situation. But if you wanted to have a shallower depth of field, you need to get the camera closer. I need a wider lens with a shallower depth of field, and that's just what it is. Right, so get into it. This bloody light is way too bright. It's a standard bulb from the shop, no control. So it's stuck in a piece of, you can look in there, stuck in a piece of diffusion material from one of the soft boxes. Now the thing is, you can see how it's folded. You might see fold lines, so you have to just be careful of all of that, right? That thing started working. Then that light is way too bright, even at 1%. 60 watts was way too bright, so I put all the lights off. I checked what that did as a dim light. I grabbed an old plastic rectangular ND filter. Ugly thing, is scratched. You would never put it in front of a lens. It was a piece of plastic that was very cheap. But I stuck it in there with press stick and it dulled the light. So I had some control over that light. Then what I found was, while I was doing all of this, that corner was just too dark. It didn't feel balanced. So I grabbed this and that panel light, shot it into the corner. What I realized is by shooting that light into the corner and the spill from the key light, the practicals motivated that light being there and that light being there. Makes sense, right? Then, from a exposure point of view. Now, exposure point of view, right? Look at the stuff you see on the monitor. I set all of this up with the on-screen monitor in the XM5 and it was fine. But honestly, if you want to get exposure right and even get the focus right, on that note, for focus I'm using manual focus on both lenses, set the depth of field to where I wanted because I'm going to be walking around and I didn't want any hunting. So that's what we did. I'm going to get water. I can't. Okay, I'm back. Excuse me. I don't know. This is enough for one day. Okay, so what were we talking about? Focus, set the focus manual, f4 on this lens, f2.8 on that lens because it's further away. Depth of field from where I'm sitting to the light stands was enough. And yeah, what I want to bring your attention to was the false color. Now, having the false color makes a huge difference. If you look at the screen, you'll see two things, the waveform and the false color. The waveform shows spikes exactly here, which is where I want to be the brightest, and then my two practicals, which are quite bright. Okay, and everything else is darker and quite consistent. So I know that in post, I'm gonna have the subject being as bright as I need to be. I use the beigey and gray color on the key side to know that I'm in that middle range where I want to be for lighting my face, and then this side falls more into shadow. You'll see it goes into green and then falls down into pink at the bottom because I want everything else to be pretty dark, right? That is why false color is so important. It makes life so much easier to get that right. And yeah, so that's the one thing I was saying the other day in my workshop is I would rather spend the money on that cheap monitor and have false color, unless your camera does in-camera false color, which is great, than go and spend it on a new lens at this level. But hope this helps. What I find is we went through that phase of, I think we went through a phase of, wow, you know, these YouTube videos look so good, these people are making them at home, and now that is the norm. I mean, anyone can do that even with a cell phone. So that and a lot of other things. A few years ago, getting something to look cool had merit. Now, with the likes of AI and the tech that we have, making things look cool, I feel, is starting to lose its appeal. And honestly, I find it boring. If I see too many tropes in a video, I just like, I roll my eyes and I'm like, okay guys, I want the depth, I want the story, I want to learn something. I don't care that much how it looks as long as it looks decent enough. And I think that's where this has all brought me, is to focus on getting more done quicker at a decent level of quality by knowing some of the first principles. And honestly, it took me probably most of the morning to set this up because of experimenting and moving lights and getting distances and balancing everything. It's not a quick thing. And then shooting this now, I still have to take it and go and grade it. I don't even want to know. And I've used up a lot of card space on 2 cameras. So honestly, for me, I love that I can shoot straight out of that camera and just upload in a few minutes or within an hour, I have something ready to go. This is something I can do if I need to do it, but honestly, I don't think it's worth doing for the sake of putting out a tutorial, getting a message out there. And I think that's just the bottom line of it all, is we've passed the time where perfection and like stupidly high resolution and super slow-mo is amazing. It's gone, I think. For me, it's gone for me. I look at it in the music world as well. Like, you know, back in the day, guys would be like, oh, this tone wood and this guitar and that. And I was watching the Nirvana live at Paramount this morning. Just like, these ones just don't give a damn. They played, I mean, Kurt Cobain was playing a Fernandez. He's known for this stuff. And there's many other artists that play these cheap guitars and we all love their music. But, you know, then we get stuck buying something that's like 40 grand or 50 grand because it has this tone with and that neck profile. We just get too caught in our heads and spend more time on that than actually making stuff. So the point of it is, I think those years are behind us. I think companies can't sell us stuff like that anymore. I'm sorry for the likes of like the high-end Gibsons and Fenders and things like that sold their name on this level of quality that artists use, but it's the same with cameras. I don't need the latest whatever that came out the other day with 8K and RAW and all of that. I don't need it for what I'm doing, and honestly it's just more work for me. So the point of this video was hopefully to transfer some knowledge about lighting setups, remind myself that I can actually do a lighting setup, and to do some F-log footage on the XM5, and I hope that this helps. I'm still toying with whether I'm going to record the grading process or not to make a tutorial of it. We'll see, right? But hopefully at least this much helps, and yeah, catch you next time.
Can't you see that I'm blind? I'm stuck in a haze.